And we are live for our oh no, I need to edit this. Our part 4 of Industrial Strength Magic. Very, very exciting stuff. And I cannot wait to continue on with this story because it is fan freaking tastic. So much fun. Macronomicon has done it again. He's just hilarious and a blast to work with and deal with. It is really, really fun. So where this is missing here. There it is. I found it, you silly, silly thing. All right. Fixed and fixed. Okay. So why don't we just get straight into it? I hope you had a great weekend. And Monday morning, we're getting back into Industrial Strength Magic by Macronomicon. As a reminder, this is my prep read of it. So I have not prepared in any way, shape, or form. So I am not familiar with some terminology. Certain words might be elusive to me, especially if they're ones that have been made up specifically for this story. So if you feel the need to message and say, hey, you should really learn about these pronunciations or how to say these certain things, I will be. This is just the raw, cold read. That means that I'm making note of all of those things to make sure that when I record them, I know how to say them correctly. Because as much as I would love to be, I am not an expert at everything. So please bear that in mind when you are sending DMs or messages or making comments that, hey, you should learn how to read this book. I am. That's what I'm doing. We're going to make sure that we have all of those pronunciations correct so that when it comes time to actually read them, we know how to say them. Some stuff you know, some stuff you don't, and you have to learn it as you go. And that's why we prep the books. I'm just letting you in on my prep so that you can hang around with me as I do it. Thanks so much. Awesome. Okay. So we're on chapter 5. My weakness is bullet. Yeah, so apt. That is such an apt title to this chapter. Not because I know anything about what's in the chapter, but just because of what I was just talking about. All righty then. Let's go. Perry decided to play hooky. He didn't fancy a desperate sprint across town just to receive the exact same amount of scolding, so he blew school off entirely. This was not typical behavior for him, but life acts hadn't acts exactly been oh, that's awesome. Life hadn't exactly been typical lately. You know what sounds good? A visit to Dave's, then swing by the Home Depot. Maybe grab some copper wire, some neodymium magnets. We'll have to make sure that that's neodymium. Do they sell those? Some structural materials, maybe cardboard, steel, rebar, etc., etc. Sounds like it'll be a wake. Sounds like it'll take up. Blah, 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 blah. Sounds like it'll wind up taking a lot of space. Better to use the bike. The bike was a simple 12-speed with an oversized bucket on the back. Sure, it looked dorky, but it was the cheapest way to visit Dave's and come back with acquisitions in a timely manner. I'm curious to know what Dave is like. Hey, Macronomicon, how you doing, the good sir? How's your cold? Timely manner. Perry remembered the bike being a lot bigger when he was 13. I wonder if I could upgrade this to make the trip a bit easier. No! If he got caught by the tinker twitch again, he'd still be working on it when the school bus came back. It could use an electric motor. I wonder if I could put the battery in the frame of the bicycle itself by pumping a gas into it, then aerosolizing the electrolyte into gas. Spendthrift props up the reaction strength despite being diluted into gas. Make the frame the cathode and make an anode that runs the length of the frame. No! Perry shook himself out of it and hopped back onto the bike before he wound up making it shoot lasers. So, yeah, when we're actually narrating this, we'll be like having him just drift off into the thoughts of this and just kind of like running down a thought thing and then trying to draw himself back with those no. Uh, do 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 do. Macronomicon is still sick, but he thinks yesterday was the peak. Well, let's hope so. There was shopping to do. Perry glanced at his bank account and huffed. Probably gonna spend most of my money at Dave's as usual. Oh, that's awesome. Have I cast anyone yet? Officially? No. I'm still getting a feel for all of them. The only thing that I'm really feeling right now is I feel like Annie Ellicott would be making an amazing Heather. Um, but I'm trying to gauge, 1, all the characters, and 2, how much the characters are involved in the story, because that will, affect how many characters get to be with what person and what people. Um, it is good to know what neodymium is. We'll have to look that up. It might be neodymium. It might be neodymium. Macronomicon would know. I don't know per se, but I might have been pronouncing that wrong. Like I said, we're learning as we go about some of the stuff in here, but we will learn about neodymium. Um, uh, Macronomicon is like shrug. Neodymium? Neodymium? Uh, is that the blue pill or the red pill? Oh. Uh, uh, SBT, I imagine SBT, is that Jeff, or is that, someone else? Saying that they did, have a nice weekend. It was lazy, and, did some work on the DCC cinematic audio script. Ooh, fun. It's well on its way, and I think the script will be done this month. That's fan-freaking-tastic. Very exciting about that. Um, get it? Neodymium? Neodymium? Neo? Mr. Anderson. Oh, okay, let's try and get this figured out. All right, so where now? We're gonna spend a bunch of money at Dave's as usual. Perry hopped on the bike and began the laborious task of pedaling all the way to Dave's. Dave's was a small shop in the dense urban part of town, relatively far away from the Nexus, and by extension, far from superhero oversight. It didn't mean that part of Franklin City, ooh, Franklin, was particularly dangerous or chaotic, but it was safer for Perry to follow certain rules when going through the place, not wearing his school issued backpack, leather jacket, or any other identifying clothes was step one. Some people knew who his mom was, and that could sometimes attract the wrong kind of attention. Very few people knew who his dad was. That could attract even worse attention. Blending in was priority one. Not staying in any one place long enough for people to get ideas was priority two, with the possible exception of Dave's. Dave ran a tight shift. I'm excited to meet Dave. I think Dave's going to be interesting. With the familiarity of practice, Perry made his way to the little mom and pop shop called Dave's Magical Emporium. Dave's shop was smack dab in the middle of what was colloquially known as Funky Town. Funky Town. It was where many of the refugees from Mom's homeworld congregated, living in a rough approximation of harmony with each other and the law in general. Dave, being the enterprising unicorn he was, he's a unicorn, of course he is, saw an opportunity to sell his own shit at $2,000 per pound. Oh, man, if I could sell my own shit for $2,000 a pound, yeah, I would capitalize on that in a second. And the rest, as they say, is history. Ding! Dave was behind the counter, wearing his leathers, looking exactly the same as Perry remembered him 5 years ago. To be clear, Dave looked like a human with a nasty burn mark on the center of his forehead and some sizable mutton chops. Yes, I knew it. This guy's going to be awesome. It was far more convenient to have a humanoid shape in a humanoid city, so any magical creature who could manage it generally did. There were good and bad things about Dave. There always are. Uh, how is, uh, I don't know how to say it. I just write it. Do you know what it means, though? Do you have a definition for us, Macronomicon? Um, the neodymium is spelled Neodymium. 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 neodymium neodymium magnets. We'll have to look them up. You know what? Why don't we just do that? We keep talking about it. Everybody's kind of curious. Let's find out. See if we can find out what those are. It's a fancy name for a type of magnet. Oh, amazing. That is a great definition. Neodymium. Yeah. Okay, so neodymium. I don't know if it's a play for you guys. Neodymium. A silver white to yellow metallic element of the rare earth group that is used especially in magnets and lasers. There we go. It is a silver white to yellow metallic element of the rare earth group. So it's like a rare magnet or an earth magnet or whatever. Cool. Do we feel better about that? All right, so let's rockin' back into this. We're talking about Dave. Everyone feel good about the neodymium? Dave looks like this. Oh my gosh, that's fantastic. I'll have to make note of that. For those of you who don't know what's going on, I'm also live on my Discord, and the wonderful and amazing Macronomicon is hanging out with us there and posting in the chat some of the stuff that's going on. He's invited elsewhere places, but you know, we take him where we can get him, right? Because it's amazing just to have him hanging out with us. I feel honored and privileged, truly. So yeah, he's clipped a YouTube with, it looks like, I'm not sure what show this is from, but that looks like Ben Stiller in like the craziest getup I've ever seen. And your normal pack of it. Yes, of course. And I have all of my favorites people, including Eric, who it's been forever since he's been around. And I'm so glad to have him back. Welcome back, Eric. But yeah, you're welcome to check that out. I could probably plug it in here where we have Discords for Sound Booth Theater. We have Discords for myself, and we have Macronomicon's Patreon as well. And those are all in the description below. So go and check them out, as well as if you're on YouTube checking this out, please subscribe to Sound Booth Theater's channel and hit those notification buttons if you want to get notified, not only about while we're doing this, but all the other amazing stuff that Sound Booth Theater does on their channel as well, which is fan-freaking-tastic. It's a ridiculously talented group of people. Yes. Eric is now on vacation. That is fantastic. Okay, now let's get back into this. I want to know more about Dave. Come here, Dave. Where are you now? Tinker Twitch. I had to scroll back to find that neodym. All right, so there were good and bad things about Dave. Dave was generally a pleasant enough fellow, and his customer service was excellent. On the other hand, he had a strange fixation with virginity, and probably had a hand in most of the crime that happened in or originated from Funkytown. Dave, like most people, was a mixed bag. Oh yeah, okay. So, well, I don't know. I'm kind of getting the feeling that this is going to be a Jeff Hayes character. We'll find out more about him. But for now, we're just going to make him like a little bit kind of almost not quite stoner as Chong, but like just like that. The first thing he says is, "Hey, is that little Perry I see?" Who? Dave the unicorn, who is sells his own shit for $2,000 a pound, and is very, very awesome. All right. Oh, I lost my place. This is really getting crazy here. Come on. Where are you now? Found it again. "Hey, is that little Perry I see?" Dave said as Perry walked through the door. The man inhaled deeply, shuddering. Still a virgin, I see. Good, good. Your mom had the same amazing scent before she started hanging around with that Elysian punk. Gross and creepy. What can I do for you, kid? I haven't seen you around in what, half a decade? I was starting to worry about you. I was looking to buy small amounts of these ingredients. I get those Ben Stiller vibes from him. Yeah, 100%. Perry said, pulling the list he jotted down out of his mom's spell book. The leather-clad unicorn took the list and slipped his bifocals off his forehead, chewing his lip as he read. What are you gonna do? What are you going to stage a coup or something? He muttered. I'm not allowed to sell you these materials in these combinations? Perry's heart sank. Which means I'm gonna have to dick with my records once I close down for the day. Dave sighed. At least the quantities you're asking for aren't likely to trigger any red flags with Nexus, which is good. Still, some of these are pretty expensive. You bring cash? And there's the customer service. I was gonna hit the ATM. Perry motioned to the ATM at the corner of the shop. Dave wrote down an estimate on Perry's list, then grunted as he turned around and shuffled about the shelves behind the bar, pulling drawers and removing magical ingredients covered in wax paper, dropping them down on the counter with the efficiency of a clerk who wasn't handling magic ingredients. I don't suppose you could get me the worst quality ingredients you have? Perry asked as he eyeballed the price tag. I thought I chose the cheap tinker specialization. No can do, kid. Your mom's a bit of a celebrity with us, and I'm not going to be the guy who let her kid necrotize his hand because he got a bad batch of Arianite. We'll have to double check those words as well. I think necrotize is right, but it could be No, I think necrotize is probably the right way. Arianite. Dang it. A bad batch would be so much cheaper. It should be fine, Dave. You can just sell me the cheap stuff. I'm not even going to touch it myself, Perry said before he realized he'd let too much slip. Of course you're going to touch it yourself. Dave's jovial manner faded like the sun and under a cloud. Come to think of it, you stopped coming here because you couldn't make any rituals work. Something tells me that hasn't changed. How much was the Arianite again? Perry asked as he changed the subject. Son, Dave said, leaning across the bar, his tone serious. You're not doing human experimentations with dangerous magical ingredients, are you? God, no. Then what are you doing with this that doesn't require you to touch them? Perry had been wanting to brag to someone who was in the know other than his mom and dad for days, so he couldn't keep quiet any longer. I figured out a way to make machines cast spells. Shut up! Is that the right way to do that? Shut up! Dave said, holding his finger to his lips before motioning Perry closer. Are you telling me, he whispered, his voice just barely audible, you figured out something that has never, ever in the history of Manita been done? A technology that could overrun the world order? And you told me? It sounds bad when you say it like that, Perry grumbled. He hadn't known it was that big a deal. He'd made it in his bedroom with some college-level chemistry tools. It honestly hadn't been discovered yet on account of a blind spot between the science community and the magic one, not because it was difficult. Young man, I can rattle off the top of my head 6 people who would kill for that information. Lucky for you, I'm the most trustworthy unicorn you're ever going to meet, he preened. Dave will keep your secrets. Voice, be cooler as Fonzie. Way old school. Hey! Dun, 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 dun. And my dad would kill you if he traced a kidnapping back to your blabbing. Perry left that part unspoken because death threats were impolite. And yeah, if you want garbage ingredients, I've been looking for a sucker to offload some on. Now that I know it's not going to kill you, I'll bring down the real good stuff. By that you mean the bad stuff, right? Dave nodded with a bright smile as he swapped out the ingredients for contaminated, moldy, old, bruised, and battered versions of the same thing. Perfect. That'll be $216, Dave said with a grin, quoting a price nearly $600 less than before. Thanks, Perry said, tapping his card on the ATM, entering the amount, and coming back to the counter with the cash. I literally paused a book Steve does to watch this. LOL. Oh, that's awesome. Should I learn Latin and move to Italy? I think that would be a wonderful thing to do. If I could, I would learn Latin and move to Italy. They speak Italian, but I mean, I guess if you went to the Vatican, you might have. I don't know. I don't know how commonplace is Latin in Italy, other than at the Vatican. I mean, all right. Just promise me if you grow an extra head or lose a limb, you'll tell your mom you got it from somewhere else, yeah? And don't leave me hanging for 5 years again, eh? This is my Canadian coming out when I'm like, I see A at the end of a sentence. I'm like, don't leave 5 years again, eh? But it's more like, I think. Is that how you Americans do it? You're hanging for 5 years again, eh? I can do that, Perry said, waiting for Dave to pack up his order into a paper bag. As Dave was handing the bag over to Perry, the bell on the front door rang, signaling another customer. Okay. Nobody move! A woman shouted, her voice a bit hoarse. Perry and Dave froze in place, glancing over at the front door. Who's this new woman? It was a mutant woman whose skin was smooth scales, wielding a 9mm in a shaking hand. Despite the bullshit Perry had fed Brendan, guns were just as popular now as they ever were. While they didn't work for shit against supers, they were still terrific at intimidating civilians. While they were civilian adjacent, Perry and Dave were not civilians. Perry glanced at between Dave and the armed mutant woman. A sense of righteous anger and the desire to protect the helpless citizen grew in his chest. This seems like a really dumb idea. My weakness is a third bullet. Perry hadn't even gotten around to testing it yet, He wasn't exactly raring to go shooting himself. Listen, lady, Perry said, stepping between her and Dave. Shut up, she said, the gun practically vibrating with how hard it was shaking. Dun, 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 dun. Listen, son, amateurs are, is this, okay, this is in his head, but I can't tell if this is, it's his mom. He's remembering what his mom said. Listen, son, amateurs are always going to be more dangerous than professionals, not because they can fight better, but because they're so freaked out that they'll muck everything up and mess things up so badly. Perry hadn't quite understood what his mom was talking about, but staring down the quivering barrel of the gun, he was starting to get a glimpse of her wisdom. Do you know who is behind me? Perry asked. What does it matter? She asked, forgetting her previous command. Give me your wallet, and you, open the register. Dave leaned on the counter with his elbow, seemingly amused. That's Dave the Unicorn. He's a literal freaking unicorn, and he can and will turn your gun into poisonous snakes. If that wasn't reason enough to leave, I'd give you Exhibit B. Perry pointed outside, where 3 men sat on a bench by the street watching the proceedings with interest. Those are some of Dave's goons. If you walk out of these doors with Dave's money, you're going to wind up dead in an alley somewhere. Perry looked past the gun into the woman's eyes. I'm trying to save your life here, ma'am. I don't believe you. Now, give me the cash or I'll pump you full of lead. Look, Perry said, taking a step forward. The sudden movement was too much for the woman, and she unleashed a hail of gunfire. Blam, 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 blam. I'll have to count those later. HP +1. HP 1. Harry glanced down at where a single flattened bullet dropped away from his torso, having torn a hole in his shirt. "You're a super," she said, eyes widening. "Should I have led with that?" Perry asked. The woman turned and bolted, sprinting down the street faster than the goons could react. Oh my God. I almost died," Perry groaned, leaning back against the countertop, his heart slamming wildly in his chest. The unspent adrenaline went right to his knees, weakening them. If that woman had been any more accurate, Perry would have a freaking bullet in him right now. Amateurs are scary. A professional never would have been there. Thinking about the mutant woman's appalling accuracy, Perry glanced back at Dave. "You okay?" "Fine. Everything in the shop is insured, including me." The leather-clad unicorn didn't choke. The leather-clad unicorn choked. No, he cocked. The leather-clad unicorn cocked his head. That's a fun sentence. You didn't have to, I think we're missing a do. You didn't have to do that for me, you know? I did it for her. I saved her life, Perry said. Allegedly, but I am a humble shopkeep. Allegedly, I am but a humble shopkeep. Phew. Perry blew a raspberry and took his stuff, waving at the goons on the way out and strapping his haul down in the rear basket. And now to Home Depot, Perry thought, flipping up his kickstand. The ride to Home Depot was pleasantly uneventful. They had some nice cardboard which Perry bought a ream of, along with a couple rolls of duct tape, some bulk glue, and a tube of high-performance rubber sealant. Because of his savings at Dave's, he was able to afford some hefty electrical wiring, some spray paints, and some copper tubing and an electrolyte. The structural battery idea was stuck in the back of his head and wouldn't go away until he did something with it. Without noticing, Perry's cart gradually became unmanageable, and he had to buy bungee cords to get the whole thing to fit, grudgingly, on his bike. This is going to be sweet, Perry thought as he pedaled through the downtown area. Boom! Perry was halfway home when a shockwave from a detonating building knocked him off the bike and into the curb. Oh no! The wall of the nearby building detonated into a wave of shrapnel as Dad punched Mom through a wall out into the street. Dad's squat, crab-like robots poured out the hole, carrying hundreds of high-tech gadgets grasped in their pinchers, aiming for the sewers. Dum-dum-dum. Hexen, his mom, stabilized her fight mid-tumble, hovering 30 feet above the road as arm-thick bolts of lightning surrounded her spandex-clad form. Ew. Oh, that's the last thing I want to see is my mom in spandex. Perry liked spandex on other superheroes, not his mom. I'm sure Dad appreciates it, though. It wasn't actually spandex, obviously. It was some weird invention by a tinker a long time ago, and nobody had managed to beat it yet on the protection to weight ratio. That's how we should say that. Dad was climbing out of the hole, his white and red power suit looking something like Ironmonger from the comics printed in the before times. His suit was heavy and oversized, making him stand 12 feet tall with thick steel, rough-looking iron disguising and sheer ingenuity of the interior. Rough-looking iron, that's how we need to say. With thick steel, rough-looking iron disguising the sheer ingenuity of the interior. Steve, read the words that are there in the order that they are. It was a conscious design choice, his dad had said, as it made people assume he was fixated on sheer power and therefore stupid. Your time has come, Hexen. Dad's modified voice echoed through the street from the machine speakers. Oh, modified voice. The rest of your team is nowhere to be seen. They dance like puppets on the palm of my steel hand. You want to dance? Mom said, pulling her hand back. That can be arranged. She brought her hand down, and with it, a torrential rain of lightning battered Dad's suit, causing him to shake wildly in place as the overwhelming power melted through his insulators. Ha! You thought to defeat a tinker with electricity? Dad shouted. I have electricity in my brain. Your fancy fireworks can only make me stronger. It's so fun. This is going to be so fun because we know, like, we had that conversation at the breakfast table where they're bantering back and forth. We know that they kept saying that all of this uh, villain and hero speak against each other is mostly for show and stage. So it really feels like, and I mean, the way this is written, my interpretation is it's like hardcore heavy Saturday morning cartoons or anime, kind of like really over the top dialogue between villain and hero, which I think is going to be a freaking blast. And I always did say that Lit RPG is like Saturday morning cartoons for adults. And so this is just proving my point, I feel like, maybe a little bit. A Gatling gun popped out of Dad's forearm, and Mom began weaving sideways, dodging his fire in. Oh my God, they're coming in my direction. Perry hit the deck, covering his precious cardboard and wire with his body. Not my cardboard, I just bought that from Home Depot. Let me save it with my body. Suddenly, the deafening gunfire stopped, and Perry patted himself down, making sure he hadn't taken any holes. There's a quicker way to do that. Perry checked his HP. HP 1. Phew, didn't get hit. Perry? His dad's voice echoed through the mech suit speakers. Oh, shoot. Hexen turned mid-flight, her eyes widening. She flitted over to where he was dusting himself off on the street corner. He's supposed to be in school. What are you doing out of school, young man? See, I told you. The number 5 Cape in Franklin City demanded, her hands on her hips. So that was her saying that. What are you doing out of school, young man? Missed the bus, Perry said, as his dad approached to stand in front of him, too. Oh, the bystanders, the onlookers just must be like, what the hell is going on? What are you doing skipping school without protection? We'll have awesome voice stuff for that, I imagine. Dad demanded, you should have taken at least one of my concealable disintegration rays. Hexen glared at Mechanaut. I mean, school. The big robot in front of him hedged, clearly nervous. Can't miss that. A growing man needs to learn, fractions and algebra. A growing boy needs friends, Hexen said. I know it sounds trite, but you're only a high schooler once. Make some friends while you're there. Perry's thoughts landed on Heather and Brendan for some reason. I wonder why. I miss Saturday morning cartoons, but lately I've been going to my local comic shop every Saturday, so I feel like I'm getting a better deal now. That's lovely. I wish I could see your DAW. I would love to see your workflow. I'm not recording any of this. This is not being, aside from on the stream for YouTube and stuff, I'm not working this out. This isn't quite the same as the cold reads that you would get from Jeff or the other members of SBT, where their cold reads are them actually recording the book. It's just, I am learning this as I go with you. So you're just being involved in my prep read is basically what it is. So yeah, I hope that clarifies it, because yeah, if you saw my DAW right now, it would just be stationary and nothing would be happening. That's why I'm laughing and making side comments to this entire thing, because that would be a bitch to try and edit out if I wasn't. And that's why I'm not terribly worried about all of the voices and doing them correctly, because we're figuring out who these characters are and who we're going to be casting in these roles. I am going to say right now that a big part of me wants Andrea Parsnow to be my mom, Hexen. I think she would do a fantastic job at that. So I might try and see if I can beg, borrow, plead, and steal to make that happen. But yeah, that's kind of my thoughts right now. We'll figure it out as we go. I'm just kind of getting a better handle on these characters and how much they're going to be in here, and then that might be dictated by everyone's schedule and what they can manage and how big the roles are. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at, and hopefully that's going to be fun for you. LOL. Hey, James. James is another narrator's hanging out on my Discord with us. It's good to see you, buddy. All right, so let's continue on with this. Where are we at here? We're almost at the end of this chapter, which is perfect because I'm only supposed to be doing about 30 minutes a morning, and we're at 36 minutes so far. So let's finish this chapter up. We're almost done. Okay, so we're at the friends. Sorry, let me find it here. Perry's thoughts landed on Heather and Brendan for some reason. I don't think you guys understand, Perry said. I didn't try to miss the bus. I feel as though I should also remind you that I'm legally an adult. He'll always be my little boy, Mom crooned. What your mother is trying to say is your brain is like an undercooked brownie in an easy bake oven. You might be legally an adult, but you're still dumb as shit. I love his dad. Thanks, Dad. No problem, the giant suit of armor said. That is fan-freaking-tastic. You're welcome. Is that a bullet hole in your shirt? Mom demanded, grabbing his shirt and holding it out. My boy! The huge robot gave him a thumbs up. It's fine, Perry waved it off. Not a problem. It's not fine. How did you wind up getting shot in one afternoon? If I heard your dad correctly, you're not completely bulletproof, are you? Were you guys mid-battle? He asked, nodding towards the news vans that were disgorging camera crews like clown cars. Mom punched out her what the heck? Mom punched out with her right hand and sent Mechanot flying, impacting against a heavy concrete building. Wham! Seek shelter, citizen, she said, loud enough for the news crews to hear it. Your mother is probably worried sick. With that said, Hexen flew after Dad's armor, tackling it to the ground. Perry shook his head and hopped back on his bike. He had a distinct feeling that wasn't the last he was going to hear about this. Oh my word. So much fun. Mac, what are you doing to me? This is going to be just a joy. And I cannot wait to have everyone working on this and hear how much fun it is with an entire crew. Boy, oh boy. I've done dual narration before. I've done duet narration before, but I've never done a multicast. It's always only been me and one other narrator. So this is going to be a real joy to get to work on with them and to hear everybody's incredible interpretation of what's going on, because this is a freaking hilarious book. So far, I'm loving it. I can't wait to find out what's going to be happening more next. I was going to say next week. Tomorrow, we're going to do chapter 6, which is called Tinkering. And I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Okay, so we're finished up here for this morning. If you like this, click the like button, send some love over to SBT on YouTube. If you're watching on Twitch or Facebook, do all of the lovely shares and comments and likes and all that kind of stuff like that for them. Also, just a reminder of what I said kind of in the middle there. In the description, there is a link to SBT's Discord that you can go and join, where they do live reads with some of their narrators as well on occasion. They have lots of promos, lots of different stuff. Really great Discord channel to be a part of. And then also there's my Discord that I do these lives every day, all day, basically. I live stream my actual recording when I'm actually working on the book and not just prepping the book like we're doing here. We have a lot of fun over there and a great community, and I'm really grateful for the people that I have that have chosen to spend their time with me each day. It's amazing. And finally, but not definitely the least, is Macronomicon has a Patreon that's linked in the description. If you want early chapters on these books that are available on Royal Road, this one, Industrial Strength Magic, is there available on Royal Road for you now for your reading enjoyment. And then also there is Wake of the Ravager, I believe, is still available on there as well. That is another series that he has written that I'm actually having the privilege to narrate as well. I finished book one, finished recording it, I think last week or the week before. And it's going through its editing and developing process. Should be out sometime early next year through Podium. That one is available currently on Royal Road for now, though that'll probably change when it moves over to is a stub at the moment. It's on Kindle. Okay, so it's on Kindle. Thank you, Macronomicon, for keeping me up to date on that. So Wake of the Ravager is a stub at the moment. It's on Kindle right now. So that's where you can find that one. And then also, if you want to check out the third, another series of Macronomicons that is available on audio, on Audible, that would be the Stitched World series, also produced by Podium, is where I met Macronomicon. I worked with them on that project, narrating the entire series up to this point. A full arc of 5 books is already out and available on Audible and also on Kindle if you're a reader. And that series was just a blast to do. That's why as soon as I was like, had any opportunity to try and work with Macronomicon, I was like, please let me do it more. I want to do more. This is amazing. I love your writing. And if you've hung out here for any length of time, I feel like maybe you would agree because it's hilarious and awesome. And those books are no exception. Every one of them feels unique and different in separate ways. So yeah, lots of fun. All right, I'm gonna let you go. Hope you have an awesome day, and we'll talk to you again tomorrow morning, same time, same place. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe and then that notification thing so that you know when we're here. All right, talk to you again very, very soon. Bye for now.